Welcome, bounty hunters and Star Wars fans alike. It is your favorite Monday night Star Wars fan show on a Friday evening. It is all Fetts are off. It is I, Jason, the Tuscan toast in beautiful and about to be kind of rainy Miami, Florida. And with me, as always, is Brian, my cousin, the charismatic Carillion in San Antonio, Texas. Brian, how's it going, man?
Well, we've had quite a bit happening.
Yeah.
Last week, and,
yeah. It's been.
The fact that we're coming on Friday, I think there's only one thing to be said.
Yeah.
Gonna have to just blame it on the rain.
Oh my God. Okay, busting out the Milli Vanilli. Dad jokes galore. They're all over the place. That was a good one, though, man. But let me tell you, the weather.
You're about to get quite a bit of it, so.
Yeah, it kind of looks like it, and it's been really, really rainy here the last couple weeks. Here in Florida, Central and South Florida has been getting a lot of rain. It's just kind of nonstop. We usually get like an afternoon shower during the summer. It'll be nice and sunny. People can go to the beach, and then about 2 or 3 o'clock, you'll get a shower, and then that'll be it. But it's just been constant. It's been constant.
A full-blown hurricane that's heading over there.
Well, yeah. And now, it looks like we're gonna get some of this storm. How much of it, I don't know. Is it going to be a hurricane, a tropical storm? Is it going to dissipate? There's just a lot of unknowns. And for those of you who don't know, that part of my job, is to be, really plugged in to what the National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service is doing. We have a really good emergency manager over there at my work, and he is on top of this 100%. But this is Florida, and this is what we deal with. Storms all the time. This is our first real threat of the season. Right now, it's currently Hurricane Elsa heading its way towards Hispaniola. So just for those who don't really follow these things, because either you're in an area that you don't care, but this is what we're seeing right now is this storm that's at 85 miles an hour. It's moving super fast to the west, northwest, in the Caribbean, and it looks like it's gonna hit the southern end of Hispaniola, and they're under a hurricane warning right now, as well as Jamaica. So.
Well, aren't you guys also dealing with the issue of the condo? Did that not fall on you guys' plate?
No, not really, because I mean that didn't fall under us, because that's a county and state issue. We can't really provide any kind of support, but we've been just following it just the same way as everyone else has. It's just a very bad situation over there right now with the search and recovery, on top of this potential adverse weather that is going to hit. So it's a lot of unknowns right now, because according to several models, we're really not going to be affected by this until after the 4th of July holiday. It just really all depends on what happens if and when it hits Cuba. It's a very mountainous island, so it's very disruptive towards tropical cyclones such as this. So we just don't really know what's going to happen once it hits, and it just depends on where exactly it hits in Cuba. I don't know if you can't really see my mouse or anything, but if you kind of look at the northwest tip of Cuba, that's not as mountainous. So if it kind of bypasses the rest of Cuba and goes up that way, it can gain some intensity and get into the warmer waters of the Gulf of Mexico. But it can, and then if it continues on this track and then up to where the cone of uncertainty is, it can right now hit anywhere between the panhandle of Florida, the west coast of Florida by Tampa and Fort Myers and Naples, or it could just come straight up the middle. When I was here for Hurricane Irma, I believe that was in 2017, I want to say, it did something similar. It kind of came just kind of almost straight up the middle, a little bit more towards the west coast. But where I live in Doral, Doral is the most west you can really get in Miami-Dade County. So we got a lot of that wind. So we got about Category 2 winds at that point. Whereas the eastern part of Miami-Dade didn't get it. I mean, they got it, but they didn't get it as much as we did, because it just happens that way. We were expecting it to hit straight onto Miami, where it actually kind of came, right up the butt of Florida. But then this one, it looks like it could possibly, but I mean, it's just too soon to say.
Yeah.
But
well, there it is, everybody. A snapshot of what the Tuscan toast has been dealing with and why we had to push. And of course, I've got my health condition that I can't always get to stuff, and I actually had a bout of it today. So.
Oh, sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, and then throw on top of that, my wife has discovered 4 little fur balls.
Oh yeah, you got the kitten committee over there. That's right.
And speaking of that, so they're fixing to wake up, and it is amazing what you have to do to. I had no idea what a mother cat has to do to fend for her young. I mean, everybody thinks she just lays there, but no, that's not what happens. So they have to be fed round the clock every 2 to 3 hours, and they got to get so much. So I'm pretty sure we're doing a special formula, but sorry everybody, I know this is a Star Wars show. We've gone from the Weather Channel to Discovery Channel, but anyway, we do a special formula, but I mean, I'm sure the mother cat has to go feed herself in order to provide more milk. So, they're taking up to 11 milliliters right now, each of them, and there's 4 of them. I calculated it, so I mean, throughout the day, that's 77 milliliters over 28 bottles.
Whew!
So it's.
You know what, man? You were doing a very noble thing, taking in all those fur balls. But
they are going to be wailing bloody murder while we're on the show.
Oh,
letting everybody know.
Oh, okay. Well,
you are going to hear the. It's Star Wars, so why don't we just say it? You're going to hear the force of the feline in about 10 minutes or so. They're going to. They're going to make their presence known. But I do want to get to some Star Wars stuff while we've convened on this Friday, and I know we don't have a task bar underneath for tonight, but I mean I've got plenty of topics to.
Yeah, man. I mean, there's lots to talk about
that I plan to get under your skin with. So, but. I do want to recap Bad Batch, which I know you still haven't watched.
No, I haven't quite gotten to it yet, and I will, But I did watch something on Netflix, and there are 2 things actually I did get to watch.
But these aren't going to be Star Wars.
These are they're not. They're not. But I did get to watch 2 things on a streaming. Look, I'm trying. All right. I finished Castlevania. I finally finished it. And I saw America where Death died, and America the Motion Picture. Wow. I mean,
America the Motion Picture?
Yeah, I mean, it's dude, if you have not seen America the Motion Picture, it's
a long time ago.
No, it's with
with the guys from South Park, Trey Parker and Matt.
No. You're thinking of
America.
No. That's the puppets. No, this is an animated movie. It just came out. It's about. It's. I don't want to get too much. Yeah, I don't want to get too much into it.
It's like in the colonial ages with.
It's during the Revolutionary. Yeah, it's during the Revolutionary War.
Got like modern weapons, and it gets crazy.
Yeah, and they have George Washington. They have George Washington and Abraham Lincoln coexisting, which we know they didn't.
There's only one thing that matters that's coming to Netflix. Just one thing.
Okay.
If we're gonna be on Netflix.
Oh, He-Man. I'm all about He-Man. It's He-Man.
When that comes on the 23rd,
Mm-hmm.
you remember that I said it today.
Yeah.
Life is going to stop as we know it.
Yeah, I would really love to just take some time off and watch that. I mean, I don't think I can, but
I think it's great that Mark Hamill is coming to
as
bring
Skeletor
to life.
Can you believe that?
But I want to hear him say it just one time.
Do
you remember in the old cartoon in the 80s, like the Skeletor character in that cartoon had just one phrase in every... He either said it one every other episode or sometimes 2 episodes a season.
Which one? What was it?
He always said it just to, like, as an excuse for... And it worked for everything. Like, if Skeletor lost, it worked.
Okay.
If he won, it worked.
Okay, and what was it? I don't remember.
If he wanted to, like, shell the responsibility to somebody else, it worked.
Okay.
He would just look at He-Man, stone cold. Just look at him, cooler than the other side of the pillow, holding his staff.
Uh-huh.
And he would say, "My power's beyond your understanding, He-Man." Yeah.
That weird cackle. Yeah.
It covered everything. It just, I mean...
Oh, I hear him.
It would end the show. Like, what could He-Man say to that?
Oh, I hear the cats. I hear them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Oh, you weren't kidding.
No, we won't go into what's taking place right now.
Oh.
Not that anyone, I mean, we don't want the hundreds of billions of viewers to be turned away by what's happening. I'd rather them stay on. But yeah, it's going down right now. Yeah.
Is this the poop session? This sounds like is this the poop session that you were talking about? I think.
So you brought it up, right? I tried not to bring it up, and you brought it up.
Hey, it's not our poop. It's the cat's poop. Everybody should be cool with that.
Okay, you know what? Now that you brought it up, I'm just gonna demonstrate it so that you lose sleep at night. How about that?
Of you pooping?
I mean, no. I mean, 'cause these tiny little lives cannot do this on their own, so they need help.
Yeah. So how many of these cats do you have? You have 4. Now, are you trying to foster them out once they kind of grow up and can do stuff on their own? And now you're going to keep them. You're going to be the crazy cat guy?
No, I mean, there's no way we're keeping 4. So,
okay.
I mean, I don't know where this is going to end up. I mean,
okay.
They're getting Twitter pated pretty fast.
Okay.
But they're just so dang cute when they're this size, right? But they're gonna triple in probably 60 days. But,
yeah, and then you're gonna have to get them spayed and neutered and all that kind of stuff, so they don't start peeing everywhere and humping each other. Yeah, you don't want that kind of stuff. You don't need that. You don't need that in your life.
No,
so,
but so we covered He-Man. We covered that. Digressing from the cats, digressing from the weather, digressing from my knee, from everything else.
Mm-hmm.
We covered He-Man on Netflix. You covered that. You watched Death Die on Castlevania.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, I know. Look. I know you. I know you. He was. And
Trevor Belmont. Trevor Belmont killed Death.
Look, I know when you said that you'd seen it. I beg your pardon. Sorry, but no, it's not that. When you were when you talked about it and you're making fun of it, I hadn't finished it. I mean, you can, like I said, you could spoil it all you want. I am bound to the same rules as everybody with the 24-hour thing. But I saw it, and playing the games, I played all the Castlevania games. I took an appreciation to how that ended. I know you just like, well, it's death. I'm like, well, this is all made up in the to begin with. But the fact that Trevor Belmont died, quote unquote, but didn't stay dead, was a bit disappointing. I think it would have been better off had they killed him off at the end.
Did he die?
No, he didn't die in the game. But I mean, this story. But because this story is
He didn't die in the game. How can he die in the series?
Because he can. I mean, he can die. But the final boss wasn't even death. The final boss was Dracula. for Trevor Belmont. What? Yeah. So this story is from Castlevania 3. This is from Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. All of the characters, Alucard, Sypha, Trevor, they're all from this one video game. So what? So two things can happen.
That does all the magic spells.
Yes, exactly. So two things can happen next if you follow the timeline of Castlevania. You can go into Dracula X, where it's Richter Belmont, and then he's going and he's fighting Dracula again. He because Dracula was brought back by humans, and Richter Belmont is the son of Trevor Belmont. Now, that direct sequel of Dracula X is Castlevania Symphony of the Night, where you play as Alucard for the PlayStation. And I mean, that game was one groundbreaking for a Castlevania game and for the PlayStation, but it continues this story more linear, because before that it really wasn't. It bounced around because you had Castlevania 1 and then you had Castlevania 2, and those were Simon Belmont, and then you go into 3, which was Trevor, which was a lot earlier, and then boom, you have 4, which is Super Castlevania, and then you get Dracula X, and then you go into Castlevania Symphony. So it bounces around a whole lot, the story, but it was never really meant to be like a linear story. It's just, it's a game. But the way that Netflix is doing it, I enjoy it. I think it's great the way that they're doing it. It took a lot of seasons to do Dracula or Castlevania 3. So, the next few, because this is enough for another 4 seasons. Going into Dracula X and then Castlevania Symphony of the Night, sure. I think you could do another 3 or 4 seasons with just those 2 alone. So
hopefully we're gonna get into some Star Wars stuff after we.
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
I gotta ask.
Yeah.
Is Belmont and Dracula's son and there's another guy,
Alucard,
whatever his name is. I don't really care what his name is.
Grant Dynasty.
The blonde-haired one that looks like I guess Alucard is his name, but
Alucard is Dracula's son. Yeah. Alucard is Dracula's son.
Dracula's son. Yeah.
Yep.
He reminded me of what's his name from Interview with a Vampire.
Lestat. Yeah. Tom Cruise's character. Yeah,
he
Lestat.
Was like Lestat, but a better fighter.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Was him, that guy, and then the other one that ran the torture chamber? Who was that guy? The one that altered all the DNA and everything and made monsters and.
Oh! You mean the one who made Night Creatures?
Yeah.
There was there was Isaac. Isaac was the bald one, and then it was.
Well, no, but there was one that was like Dr. Mindbender with a sense of fashion, like whatever that guy. His hand got chopped off or something. His finger. Okay, whatever.
He chopped off his finger because he had that ring that was controlling him.
So was that guy, the Lestat guy, and then Belmont? Were all those guys voiced by the same guy?
I don't know.
You know why I asked?
Because they sound the same, and they were like.
Yes.
Right. Yeah, you could.
Part of the problem of me watching this thing, every time they talk, they would look at somebody and they would go, "Well,
yeah."
It is because we went into the village, and then after we exited the village, we went to the village that was on the left.
And you know what? Here's me.
Should have been the village to the right.
Here's me showing my age, because I have to have the subtitles on Netflix all the time now.
This.
Yeah,
Don't say this.
Yeah,
Anna needs the subtitles, and I hate subtitles.
I need it. I need it. I needed it.
Be a traitor like this.
Because I can read?
People require subtitles.
Because I'm old and I can't hear stuff anymore.
You don't see anything because you're reading it.
I go back and forth. I can do that. I can read fast.
No, if you're gonna need subtitles, go buy the book. There's no point in looking at it on TV.
All right, fine. Sorry.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. It ruins the whole experience. It's just. Do you have subtitles when you go to the movie theater?
If it's not in English, yeah. Like Shin Godzilla? Yeah.
Did you use subtitles when you went to go see Infinity War?
No.
No. Okay. So it can be done.
I was younger.
Bad Batch.
All right, let's. All right, get into
the weather. We've covered the biological anatomy of kittens. And
okay. Real quick before you actually start going into the new.
I'm not going back into that.
No, I don't. No. I don't want you. No, we're not going to go back into that. I want a recap of where we're at as far as Bad Batch goes. Where are we at in the grand scheme of the story of Star Wars?
Okay.
Where are we at with this A team of stormtroopers?
So, the Empire is taking over.
Mm-hmm.
It's stretching its long arm of the law through the galaxy, right?
Right. So they didn't succumb to Order 66.
No.
Okay. All right.
These clones, as it put, are genetic mistakes that ended up with enhanced abilities because of their genetic defects.
I can relate. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, one of them, Crosshair, is actually working with the Empire because his chip activated out of nowhere, and they actually strengthened his chip. So right now he's with the Empire, but you know what? What? And this is what I like telling everybody that just love Crosshair, because I mean, he's a great character, but I just wasn't all that overly smitten with him right away. But as badass as everyone wants him to be, he's just not in enough episodes. It's funny. He was full on in the first episode, then the second episode, and then the third and fourth, and fifth, no sign, and then came back in the sixth, and then the seventh, 2 minutes, and then the last two, nada. So it's.
So are we looking at this from the perspective of them? What are they doing? Are they doing mercenary work? Since
basically, yeah, they're
okay,
doing mercenary work so they can get credit, so they can keep up their shit.
Okay, so they're independent.
Apparently, even in Star Wars, you need money.
Yeah, so they're independent. They're independent at this point.
Well, right now they're doing jobs for. They discover a character who worked with the Jedi during the Clone Wars, providing them information for a price, named Sid.
Okay.
So they're working for her, who's played by Rhea Perlman.
Right. Oh wow! This.
You discover that the Kaminoans have a high interest in the Omega character because, as we've now discovered through the show, that Omega is now the last pure form of DNA of Jango Fett.
Omega is an unmodified replication of Jango Fett. Okay.
She's the last one.
Making her the only available source for fresh cloning material. Ah, so that's the interest. Okay. Got it.
High interest, because basically the Empire has gone and told them. They said, hey, why are we paying you all this money when we can just go and hire a bunch of people for less, almost save more than half of what you're charging us to build clones? We can just go hire people.
Yeah, and you were saying that this is kind of the genesis of getting away from clones and actively recruiting within the Empire for.
This is what I love about this. What I love about this. And actually, I'm gonna spin a theory.
Okay.
That's gonna blow your mind, because if I'm right on my theory tonight, be warned, I'm gonna spoil Kenobi for everybody if I'm right. But it's my theory. Okay,
that's what we do. We speculate here, man. That's what we do. Okay.
So, they've made it more apparent that Omega is Force sensitive. She's a Force sensitive clone. Okay. And everyone's saying, like, how can a clone be Force sensitive, much less Jango Fett's clone? How can you give Force abilities to a clone? Well, 2-3 words: Supreme Leader Snoke. Snoke was a clone puppet, and he had every bit the Sith powers that Palpatine had.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
They somehow found a way to get those midichlorians from Palpatine to the clone.
Are midichlorians still a thing? Because we haven't heard about them since episode 1, really.
No, they came up in They came up in episode 3.
Did they? I don't remember. I don't remember hearing about him in episode 3. But I mean, it just seems like the whole midichlorian thing was downplayed after episode 1.
I mean, I wouldn't call it downplayed. I mean, Anakin had the highest count they had ever seen, even more than Yoda.
Okay.
So they must have found a way to integrate them into the DNA for the cloning. That's my thing. How we're gonna come to find that out, I think it's on the way.
Okay.
I think it's something that Bad Batch is going to explore.
Okay.
It's just at every turn, we see them giving us hints that there's more to Omega than just her cloning skill. She's quickly adept at problem solving and weapons, and
so
immensely fast learner, and she anticipates things before they happen. Which that's the big thing right there.
So does this does this series take place shortly after episode 3, right? So this is during episode 3.
Well, Order 66 has just in episode 1 of the Bad Batch. Order 66 is going on right then and there.
Okay, so it's right after. It has to be right after, because Order 66 happened, and then everything happened on Mustafar, and then Vader became Vader. So okay, so it's got to be right after. So this is the very very beginning and the freshest part of the Galactic Empire. Okay, okay. So what I'm wondering is, so looks like there's 4 episodes left, going through the end of July.
August.
Yeah, July 30th is going to be the last episode season.
16 is what we got of this.
16? I'm seeing 14.
They haven't put the other 2 yet. There's 16.
Okay, so if it goes through August, okay, great. So we have 16 episodes of this. Whether or not this is a one-shot, we'll see. But this...
I think it'd be difficult to do it second season. And my theory is going to back that up.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you go on, then I'll give my.
No. I mean, I'm interested to see what this spins into, because a lot of these things that Filoni has been doing, and with the end of Clone Wars, it leads up to something, and it's telling a story, or it tells a story side by side to something else that's currently happening. Like the last episode of Clone Wars, was it Clone Wars or no? It was Clone Wars. The last episode of Clone Wars was as episode 3 was going on during that whole time. So the end of it coincided with the end of that movie. So whether or not this is going to go side by side with something, I don't know. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, because they have to kind of, if you do something during this time frame, you have to reference it to the main story, which is the tragedy of Darth Vader. That's the saga is 1 through 6 is the tragedy.
No.
What do you mean no? What do you mean? How is it not?
Skywalker saga is 1 through 9.
Yeah, I know, but the tragedy of Darth Vader is 1 through 6, because there's no Vader in 7, 8, and 9, other than his voice and his helmet. That's it. He has no presence whatsoever, but he does in 1 through 6. So, you have to kind of tie it into that narrative, and this is way too soon to even talk about it coinciding or getting close to what happens in episode 7. There's probably going to be other things that go on, or there's going to be other shows that happen after episode 6. There kind of has to be, I think, because there's a lot that happens that we don't know about between 6 and 7. There's a long period of time. We know a little bit. We don't know a whole lot about the Knights of Ren. If you go into and you start telling stories about that and tie that into that trilogy, it helps. It helps everybody's reference, and it expands the story, expands the universe. So it looks to me like that this is what Bad Batch is doing right now, because now they're going back to the whole cloning part of it, and even bringing back the idea of Jango Fett. I mean, it's they're callbacks, And it sounds like and it doesn't look like it's just a callback just for the sake of doing a callback. Like, oh, cool, I remember that. No, it's going more into the story because it does. It needs to be told to have a full story.
One thing we've come to learn is Filoni doesn't insert something for nothing.
No.
He inserted Ahsoka into Clone Wars, and that had a huge meaning and implications. Mm-hmm. He inserted Grogu into not Baby Yoda. He inserted Grogu into The Mandalorian, which also had big purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And now we have this character, Omega.
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting obvious that she's a Force-sensitive person. So being that these things are coming together, we have 2 other big projects on the way, right? Well, 3.
Mm-hmm.
After we've got Andor,
mm-hmm.
Book of Boba Fett. Well, Book of Boba Fett, then Andor. But then we got the big Dukaroo coming after we got Kenobi.
Uh-huh.
Right? Okay. So you would agree that Kenobi would be pretty boring if all he did was babysit Luke for the entire season.
Yeah, I mean, we've
see that, right?
Yeah, we've talked about that. I mean, he has to have adventures.
Homestead, cleaning up his chest that he has his lightsaber in, and popping over to the Lars homestead and checking in every other week, and maybe fighting a few stormtroopers in between, keeping the scent off. I mean, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Bounty hunters, but all from the same location. It'd just be monotonous, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have adventures.
You got to get him off world, right, in order to try and spice this up a bit.
Yeah, he will. He has to. I mean, what kind of story?
Reason to get off world, don't you think? Don't you think it'd be a pretty big reason? Don't you think he would need something fairly important to say, I think Luke is okay. I'm going to take a week off and try and go take care of this. Don't you think that would be something fairly huge in order to walk away for a period of time from watching the one he believes will balance the Force?
Uh-huh.
I mean, it would have to be something pretty important to not be protecting that around the clock, right?
Yeah, I would think
really
so.
Important?
Yeah, of course.
Like maybe finding another Force-sensitive being?
Yeah, Omega, maybe.
Now you're onto something. So, I think that they're going to put Omega into Kenobi.
Live action? Sure.
Yep.
Why not? I mean, you've already done it with Ahsoka. I mean,
he's going to locate her. He's going to discover that she can use the Force,
mm-hmm.
and it's all going to go from there, man. I just,
mm-hmm.
I think he's going to have to get her back to Camino. That gives him the perfect excuse to get off world.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
What better way to have a duel with Vader?
Oh.
Because maybe Vader gets word
that
Kenobi survived, and then he finds out that he's heading to Camino.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get the El Dukaroo on Camino, El Dukaroo number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Before the final Dukaroo on the Death Star. Maybe during the way, maybe along the adventure, he bumps into a certain Commander Cody. Because you have Tamura Morrison, Commander Cody with a dad bod.
With a dad bod. Mm-hmm. Oh wow! All these people are coming back. I'm just kind of reading up on the Kenobi series. There's only gonna be 6 episodes. Whoa.
Well, yeah.
I wonder if they're gonna be like long episodes.
They're gonna be an hour each.
Oh, okay.
A full hour. I mean, that's a 6-hour miniseries if you think about it.
Yeah.
6-hour movie.
But they're bringing back, the characters who play, or the actors who played Lars and
Baru and
the Larses. Yeah, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty cool. Huh. All right. This should be, great. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, it's gonna be next year, but I mean, we're already in the middle of this year, so it's going by pretty quick. So that'll be cool. Yeah.
There is another thing I want to talk about just to get under your goat,
All right.
so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not sure if you've been made aware, but for those that don't know, Boba Fett's ship that he
Mm-hmm.
uses in The Empire Strikes Back,
Mm-hmm.
that ship for a very long time has been known as Slave One.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Well, we're now living in different times, and there are certain triggers now that corporations are not wanting to attach themselves to. So Disney has decided to drop the name Slave One
Okay.
and call it Boba Fett's Starship.
That's all they're calling it?
Does that sound cool? No. Is it boring? Yes. But
What?
my main rant on this doesn't have to do with the fact that I personally don't care what they call it. I really don't.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool ship. They
Mm-hmm.
can call it whatever they want. They can call it Boba Fett's Stagecoach. I mean, I don't care.
Uh-huh.
But Slave One was definitely a badass name. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna miss that name because that just sounded ominous.
Well, you know, I didn't even know it had a name.
Mhm.
I didn't. I had no clue. I mean, I didn't know it had a name, and you know, when I just found out about it, I mean, it doesn't mean anything to me really because I didn't even know. After all these years, I had no idea that Boba Fett ship had a name. So them changing it doesn't really affect
Well,
me. But
and
I mean, for
fans
you, I can
are-
see it, I can understand it. Yeah, I can.
many fans are livid.
Yeah.
Many. And the gentleman that wore the suit in the Blu-rays and the special editions came out and tweeted against it. Not Jeremy Bullock, but the one that they did for some reshoots.
Well, you know, I have a I think I have a fairly pragmatic view on things like this because I mean it was named whatever whatever it was named Slave One by somebody. I don't know who named it. It doesn't really say who. According to Wikipedia, it doesn't say who came up with the name. But whether it be Lucas or Ralph McQuarrie, who is the artist, the design artist, whether they came up with the name, it really doesn't matter. You know, this name was there since The Empire Strikes Back, which is as old as I am, and it's not in reference to anything that has happened here in the U.S. or anywhere because this is a movie about a galaxy far, far away, a long time ago. And if anybody takes offense to something like this, where it doesn't even address a slavery at all or a slave. I mean, he's a bounty hunter, right? He's not an enslaver, right? That's all he is a bounty hunter, which we do have, which are real things, are real people, real professions. I don't know if anybody would or could take offense to this because it's a word. I mean, it's a word, and it just happens to be the name of a ship that's not used in any kind of context, right? About actual slaves or slavery. It's just a word that is now the name or was the name of a ship. So, well, I don't know who it would trigger. I don't know how. I really don't know how you get that from a spaceship, a fake spaceship. I just don't know. And to do that, it just kind of now you have to change everything. I mean, if it was referenced in comics and books and games, you're going through all this to just have people be like, okay, what? All right. This is not like changing the name of the Washington Redskins. All right, where Redskin can be considered a derogatory name towards a certain culture, and then you actually have the face of someone from that culture on the helmet, it's nowhere in that kind of category, because what, getting rid of the Redskins name, I'm totally for, because I can't imagine, having like the Dallas Mexicans or something like that, and you have like Speedy Gonzalez on the helmet or something like that. I mean, it's not in good taste. I don't think it just isn't. So name your team something else. Okay, cool. I get it. I applaud it. I think it's time. And but to do something like this to something fake, that doesn't that really shouldn't offend anybody, because it's just a word and the word's not going to go away. It's part of the English language. Why? I mean, really? I mean, did anybody say anything, or did somebody just say like, I'm not crazy about this name because I mean, I just don't know.
I'm glad you said that, because it's the one person who isn't saying something that is just putting everything in orbit for me this week, because I'm just enjoying it.
Okay.
So it's no secret that the fan base all went out and popped fireworks and had tea parties and I don't know what else when it became public that 7 months before May, Filoni was given full creative control in Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone went out. What an awesome promotion! This is great. Star Wars will be saved. He's here to rescue us. He's gonna fix everything. No more ridiculous additions or subtractions from Disney. Filoni's gonna do it his way, the way that he wants, and he's not gonna let Disney tell him anything. And guess what happened?
What?
He ends up being like everybody else. He took his paycheck and he shut his lip, because he's going to be doing the Book of Boba Fett in a few months,
mm-hmm.
and he's not going to put Slave One in there because he wants his job like everybody else. So the fans can say what they want as to how he's tough as nails and he's going to kick Kennedy and he's going to kick her in the can and he's going to tell her where to go. No, that's not what happened here.
Now, this wasn't his idea?
No.
Okay. We're
For
sure.
sure no, because he's a fan like the rest of us. He wouldn't want to change that name. This was definitely a Disney's decision, and there's no way he's going to come out and he's not going to tweet on it. He's not going to say anything. He's not going to make any waves. He's just going to work it in. They may give it a different name in Book of Boba Fett. They may do that, but it's not going to be Slave One.
Or you may not even have to say anything.
Who signs his check?
You may not even have to say anything. You just say, "Get to the ship. Get to your ship. Get to the ship." You can just keep it ominous. You can just keep you can just keep it ominous if you want, I guess. Mm-hmm. I mean,
actually, you know what I'm looking forward to?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to enjoy this so much when it happens, because it's just. I think he's going to blow it up.
What's that?
He's going to blow it up.
Oh, he's going to blow up the ship.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
And if the fans think he won't, I got 2 words.
Okay.
Razor Crest.
Oh, Din Djarin's ship. Mm-hmm. Right, Razor Crest. Got it.
Everybody was digging that ship, talking about, oh, this is great. It's
mm-hmm.
almost like another character, like the Millennium Falcon.
Mm-hmm.
I think he heard all of that, and he's like, you know what? I better let people know that I'm willing to ruffle feathers while I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
And he just blew it to smithereens. I think he's going to blow up Boba Fett's starship.
Sure.
Because think about it. Blowing it up does a great many things. I mean, it eliminates the whole name controversy real quick.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay, it doesn't even exist. It doesn't even exist anymore.
And he'll just go find a new ship and name it something else. So.
Okay, so let me read off some of these comments here by Johnny Be Good over on who's watching on YouTube.
Oh,
so he's got a theory, right? That Crosshair's DNA is going to be used by the Empire for experimental soldier enhancements. Now, the only soldiers that were tested and bred for those military experiments were the Navy SEALs of the Empire, Death Troopers. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it does actually.
Okay. Who are the Death Troopers? Come on, man, help me out here.
Oh, man.
Give me a hand.
Rogue One, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah. They were the ones that you couldn't tell what the heck they were saying?
Yeah, okay, got it. Got it. Death Troopers. All right. Yep, okay, I remember now. Thanks for jogging my memory, which is fleeting at times. But, okay. That would be a good tie-in. I mean, Rogue One, is before Episode 4. Yeah.
I can see it. I could definitely see it.
Yeah. Why not?
But that would require the Kaminoans to stay in the picture. We're gonna have to see if my guess is that, man, the Empire is gonna go into Kamino and eradicate the clones. That's my initial guess.
Okay. Huh. That might, yeah. I could see that because
they no longer they've worn out their use. They're obsolete now. I mean, the Empire would just, instead of just expecting the Kaminoans to cease work, they'll just go and mess everything up and set them back or something. But,
well, so okay, so maybe they addressed this in Clone Wars, but the clones themselves, they age to maturity rapidly, right?
Yes. The ones that were enhanced.
Okay, so
we know that Boba was not set up like that, neither was Omega.
So what happens? What happens after that? Do they age normally, or do they?
My understanding is once they've reached the age where they're of adulthood and can train and all that, once they're at that point, then the age slows.
So they have to age. So let's say that they're, what are they, in their like 21 during the actual Clone Wars. They're
maybe, yeah.
20. Maybe, let's say they are 21. Okay, so how many years is between Episode 3 and 4? 20, right? About 18 years. Okay, so now you're looking at them being already close to 40. They're almost my age, and all of those clones. Let's just say they all came out of the same. Let's just say they all came out the same year, and then they were trained up and out there. So they're already those clones are 40 years old, and if they follow kind of how the military does in the United States, if they're enlisted, they're already like first sergeants or maybe even sergeant majors. If they were if they were officers, they might be lieutenant colonels at some point. So you're looking at an aged fighting force that's left. And if they talk about this here, if they ever cover it in Bad Batch or in subsequent series, how the Empire recruited and trained their military, where do these clones fit in? I mean, are they in leadership positions? Have they been exterminated? Have they been attrited? I don't know. Has that been covered?
We're gonna find some of those things out. I mean, I think some of those things are going to come to light. So.
Okay, so this hasn't been covered yet. This is more stuff that should be covered because does happen to them?
We're going to see some of that in Bad Batch.
Okay, so yeah, we'll get to see what exactly does happen to the clones that are left once the Empire went to an all-volunteer force.
Well, that's what I'm telling you. They're going to get eradicated.
Okay. Yeah.
I think. But
okay.
I am glad that Johnny B. Good is with us because actually I have a question for him.
Mm-hmm.
And I hope he's still on because I'd like him to see what he thinks.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned it earlier. Crosshair. I'm glad he brought up Crosshair. Does he think that Crosshair is going to be in every single episode the rest of the way? or are we still going to see this strange absence of Crosshair? And what is he? Why does he think that Crosshair has not been prevalent since the second episode around there? It's been quite a number that we haven't seen much of. So I'm kind of wondering what he thinks about all that. But if he comes in before we close, okay. If not, then he can sleep on it till the next one.
Yeah, I mean, he can hit us up. I mean, he can go and hit us up on Facebook or on the YouTube page. Yeah, that's totally fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so I mean that's cool. That's some food for thought. Really. I want to know that. These are the kind of stories I want to hear. I want to know. Well, what happens? Because you just you're watching A New Hope and you hear Leia mention Clone Wars once.
Yeah.
And then it has become this. It becomes a series. It becomes the basis of. Yeah, and then Luke mentions it once, and then it becomes the basis of an entire series, the focus of the prequel trilogy. Yeah, it's just this really big thing for something that was only mentioned twice in the original trilogy.
Yep.
So yeah, it opened up a can of worms by saying the Clone Wars.
Sure did.
So, but that's cool, man. Anything else we wanted to cover tonight?
I think that closes it out, man.
Okay. Okay, cool. I know you got the kitty committee over there. You're doing you're doing a real human thing by taking care of them.
We want to be sure and remind everyone that Brianna is back at Bad Customs, and 4th of July. Kind of that ship has sailed, but folks want to start looking at Halloween. I mean,
ooh, yeah.
We're heading into August, and it's going to be around the corner, and she gets a lot of stuff. So if you're thinking about looking at her link and possibly making a request on something, I'd start to think about it now. And then, of course, the same goes for Farrah Rose Designs with their banners and shirts and other things. They're also going to get quite busy pretty soon. So be sure and have that in your back pocket. But while we're making announcements of that nature, I'm asking everyone out there right now, after what myself and the princess has gone through, to give these 4 little souls a chance to have to be able to have a feline life. Don't feed strays, please. If you feed ferals, you're just going to get more ferals. They're called feral cats. They're feral to their surroundings, and they live off the fat of the land. But if you set food out there, they're just going to breed. And they're going to breed fast. Don't. If you take a feral cat upon yourself, do the right thing.
That's what
get it vaccinated, get it spayed, get it neutered. I used to dismiss all this from The Price is Right. I didn't understand what the heck he was talking about at the end of each Price is Right.
Yeah.
You watch The Price is Right, Bart Barker, and remember, if you have a pet, be sure to get your pet spayed or neutered at the end of every Price is Right. I'm like, who cares? What is it? I was like, what does this have to do with a game show?
Now you know all about it, but
the man was right.
Yeah, and my dad and stepmom, they have the beer barn there in Central Texas. Well, my stepmom had kind of adopted these stray cats all in the area, but she had them fixed and taken care of. She did, but they're all hanging around there, and I mean, she's feeding them and stuff like that, but. My dad was telling me that one time one of these freaking cats got locked inside the beer barn at night, and just just all this wailing and everything. But yeah, she did that. She did exactly what you said. Even I was dismissing. I was like, cats. Okay, you're just whatever. They're cats. They're animals. They'll be fine. No, I mean, yeah, they were just all out there and just chilling. Because they get territorial. They get territorial, I suppose. I mean,
please just do the right thing. Don't leave a whole bunch of cat food out in your backyard or something. Don't just let them let them do what they do so that they don't breed all over the place, and because you're just gonna have litters all over your neighborhood. That's all that's gonna happen.
I don't think we have that problem here.
Many of them are gonna make it, and many of them aren't. So I mean,
ducks are what we have here. Yes, there's lots of ducks. Yeah, they're all over the place.
Ducks are fine because they can find water, so that's no big deal.
Yeah, and there's plenty of it around here. But the thing is when I was going to University of Miami, I mean those ducks were all over the place, and they would poop everywhere, and you'd be stepping in it. I mean, and they would chase after. I mean, oh man, it was like Lord of the Rings out there. You're just like running for your life because you have Donald and his army of quackers just coming right at you. That's what we have here. Are these ducks, and they're considered nuisance animals. So. Yeah.
We're close. Did Johnny B. Good respond to the? Did he respond to the crosshair question?
Oh, good question. No, he has not. That's okay.
Well,
yeah, we'll wait back.
He's just gonna have to find us another one.
Sure.
Okay.
All right. Well, Brian, it was good chatting with you. I know it's it's late. It's Friday. It's been a very long week, and it's probably going to be an even longer weekend for me. But that's okay. That's what I do. So take care. Have a happy 4th of July. Happy birthday, America. Happy birthday. And stay safe. Don't do anything crazy or stupid with fireworks. Those things are dangerous and explosive, and you don't really need to.
Get a spade or neuter.
Yeah. Don't mix the two. Don't mix the fireworks and the cats. All right. I'm going to leave it at that. All right, everybody. Stay safe. Love ya. And, yub nub out here. Yub nub.